so hot, hot. Now let this be a lesson, Professor. He handling the hit in his possession. Ooh, what you cooking? Scalding hot beats was blow up before it's cooking. Ooh, I know you're looking true. I'm out attacking with this beat, I'm a lady man. I'm really tryna date it out. What's the number tryna call out? What about my team? Wood, shawty don't get logged out. Made by Bethesda, the only way we fall out. Morocco, you a mole. Find another hole to crawl out. Hey, I'm sticking squirrel with the biggest girls. Lace sister, case get up. I think you're stripping, girl. Damn, how sound that cliche, right? Well,
all right, we're back at it, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll kind of finish the trifecta and whatnot, but that doesn't mean the journey is over yet. We're just coming up. We've just gone past our first milestone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News Second Edition. I am your host. Welcome to Snortopia and welcome to the Gout Report. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys are doing well. And like I said, we're at the third part in our conclusion, if you will, to the main event versus Darksydephil saga. It's been an interesting ride and whatnot. Hopefully you guys have learned a lot, and let's try to cap this off proper if we can. The link will be down in the description as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, the last video in question is the gaming community excuses white knights and pedophiles 24-hour turnover. This was posted by Main Event on February 26th of 2014. The link, yet again, as I said, will be down in the description. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for our favorite part of the video, this is Chewing the Fat with GTG, also known as Welcome to My TED Talk. The fact that the fact that there was a 24-hour turnover from between the second video and the third doesn't surprise me. Now, just in case you guys don't catch the reference or you haven't seen the first two parts yet, the second video that Main Event put out came out on February 25th of 2014. This is literally the next day. Things moved fast back then. It wasn't necessarily like the Cold War that we have these days. People were willing to move a little quicker to try to get things resolved, in the fact that, you know, if they didn't, shit would go bad. Granted, shit could go bad either which way, but it's just how things turned around back in those days, if you will, or turned over, if you will. This should be an interesting situation because this is going to be Main Event yet again going at DSP supporters and what they were saying, what they were doing, how they were trying to justify, how they were trying to make excuses. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as it pertains to making excuses for Darksydephil, we all have, as detractors, trolls, haters, critics, and even people within his fan base. It's just something that you do. Natural human behavior and the belief in the human belief in goodwill is that people could turn around, people can get better. Not everybody's just an out-and-out failure. That there are always opportunities. Thank you. There are always opportunities to get better. The problem is for someone like Darksydephil, and I think it's something that even detractors to today, to right this minute, cannot accept, is that he's just a born failure. There is no turning around. There is no getting better. There isn't any of that. He is what he is. Now, you don't have to accept it. You can keep running around giving him the benefit of the doubt either which way. Go ahead. It's going to be futile, but I'm not going to tell you not to do it. Who am I to take your freedom of speech from you? Who is anybody to? As if this community hasn't already had that happen. So, in all actuality, if you want to keep that up, then by all means, continue to do so. Don't get upset, though, when things don't work out. He is what he is. The history behind Phil is so extensive, not as extensive as like a Christian, but it's pretty fucking close. He's one of the most closely watched and documented lolcows next to Christian, who blows him out of the fucking water with, I mean, we have pretty much every moment of fucking Christian's life. Phil is pretty close, which is one of the reasons why he ended up cutting most of his personal life out, because he didn't want to be lumped up in there with Christian, even though he's already there. He was always destined to be there. Phil is failure incarnate, ladies and gentlemen. He's a natural born failure. His father saw it, his mother saw it, though she may not have wanted to see it. Everybody who's ever known him sees it. But no one wants to be the one to say it, because it's such a harsh thing to say, and it is. It is a harsh thing to say. Just like saying his 4th place finish at EVO 2005 is pathetic. It is pathetic. It's pathetic that you would run around and parade that shit. It's pathetic that you would sit there and stand on 4th place and be proud of that. Outside of momentary, you know, of a momentary satisfaction. But you should always strive for better. He wasn't doing that. He was someone who had that shit stamped and cemented. That, fourth place, number one ranked in North America. That is my win. That's not pathetic to you? That doesn't sound off? That doesn't sound like there's something wrong with that? That sounds to me, ladies and gentlemen, like someone who reached their peak and was never going to raise higher than that, and they knew it. That's what it sounds like to me. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me like someone who quit before they could actually get started. It sounds to me that saw an opportunity, his one shot, and took it, and he failed. And he knew he was never going to do anything better. That's why the number one ranked North American player stemmed up. That's what that was. That little voice in the back of his head, in the back of his mind, and whatnot that screamed out, go ahead and go with that. Because someone will respect that. Not everybody, but someone will. This way you're not a complete loser. You're number one ranked North American player that year. And here's another thing too that most of you guys may have not taken into consideration. So allow me to impress this on you for a second. When he says that he was the number one ranked North American player that year, that was also if you think about the year afterwards, 2016 or 2006, he supposedly dominated the North American circuit, right? He was going to all these majors and cleaning up, and he had all those qualifier spots, right? And whatnot, which only further intensifies why he kept pushing the number one ranked North American player scenario. That was his justification. That's why he defends it even to this day. I didn't give it a whole lot of credit until I really sat down and thought about it for a minute. So keep that in mind as well, ladies and gentlemen. It was all that man ever had. And he spent 3 years really. He spent 3 years afterwards chasing it for everything it was worth. He wanted everybody to acknowledge it. And he carried that same bullshit, that early stages of pignosis, onto YouTube to a group of people who didn't necessarily know what was for what, or even cared, and injected the fucking cancer into them. And they've been suffering from it ever since. If you're gonna give him credit for anything, for Christ's sake, at least allow him to earn it. His audience has already made that mistake, waiting for him to one day be better. If he's never going to get better, then you just got to accept that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's go ahead and get into the situation proper, shall we? Because you guys are here for that. I'll see you guys in just a second.
I'm just a nerd, shout it. Hey, I'm just a nerd, shout it. Street Fighter 2, that is my dude. Dark Cloud 2, that is the new. I like RPGs and everything. Metal Gear Solid, man, that's my swing. Hey.
So, I want to thank the community for once again proving to me how immature you can be, how ignorant you can be, how disgusting you can be, just how flat out pathetic this community is right now, and how divided we are. It's amazing how some of you came to the defense of this piece of shit yesterday. It's only been 24 hours, all right? And I'm just sitting back chilling and watching. You know, I respond to some of you, and that's funny. I'm going to get into that in a minute, all right? But I respond to some of you, and some of you...
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Main Event. Let's see, the gaming community, excuses, white knights, and pedophiles. Shit, that's crazy. And pedophiles. Let's see here. This 24-hour turnover. This is from February 26th of 2014. The link, without my annoying voice, will be down in the description. Yet again, I impress upon you to, I implore you, to be honest, to go over there and check the video out. On top of that, go through the comment section. Read what was put down there. You're not wasting your time. It's eye-opening. And there's some good comments down there. And you'll be surprised what you find down there too, by the way. For any of you guys who are kind of into that lore shit. So please take a look at it. All right, here we go. Oh no, buggy button mechanics.
He had a problem with me responding to you. I don't understand how that works. But yeah. Some of you questioned me this morning asking, you know, I don't see any people here supporting pedophilia. Understand, before a lot of you people came in, a lot of people ran in here and started talking about how great it was to have sex with underage kids and being very graphic about things. I had to delete those comments because I know that it's just going to try and hijack the topic at hand. I'm not stupid. I see it. Okay? That's all you were trying to do. So I got rid of those. There were a number of comments that were really fucking disgusting, and I'm not trying to hear it's a joke. No one jokes like that, and if so, then there's something fucking wrong with you. Once again, you were showing the immaturity that I talk about. Everything that happened yesterday in those comments, all you did was keep proving me.
Too, in a lot of ways, because what's the thing going on right now? Derek out there, they're doing birthday wishes for him or whatever, but yet he shows a clear history of an infatuation with underage people, with underage girls. Actually, well, he shows just a weird infatuation with a lot of things, to be honest. And then there was Sidella, who was sitting there trying to message 15 and 16-year-old girls on fucking Twitter, and that dude was what, 24, 25 or some silly shit when that shit was going down. And that's just two examples of many. So make of that what you will. And then the fact that a bunch of followers of Phil end up going over here and attacking Main Event's video, and then was saying the same shit, and no one jokes like that. You certainly shouldn't. There's nothing edgy about that. But whatever. It is what it is.
Right. You also proved me right that that's the type of company Phil keeps. Yeah. When you guys are coming in with racist stuff, and what did I say? Ain't nothing, man. If that's the best you got, that's nothing. Like I said in the video, obviously they didn't watch the video. One guy even sat here and tried to insult me and say that I'm just mad at Phil because he made fun of Kojima's Metal Gear. Never even said anything about that at all. But that's what he was trying to say. Look, man, it goes to show you that these clowns are not watching the videos. They don't care. As soon as they see what's going on, they freak out. That's all it is. It's amazing, once again, that I say, you know, you want the truth so bad, and then when I give you the truth, you all freak out. Quite clearly, you guys are and girls are not ready for the truth. I put it like this. When you send me a message and you're just coming in and you're pretty much railroading me or whatever, and I confront you on it, I reply to you, why are you complaining I'm replying to you? I didn't expect you to reply to me. Oh, so you wanted to come in here and leave some nasty comments and be a coward and didn't expect anyone to say anything to you. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. This is the mentality we have right now. And some of you, I'm going to put it like this, because a lot of you need your head checked. I don't give a shit if you're a fan.
With people coming into his comment section, leaving bullshit, and then being shocked that he would answer them back. It's the same thing with Phil talking his shit about a bigger YouTuber or a much more successful streamer or influencer or whatever the case may be, and then being shocked and then trying to turn the situation into he's being bullied, he's being harassed, or whatever the case may be, when they answer him back. Same concept, same depth and style. They had to get it from somewhere. And in a lot of ways, you are the company that you keep.
I know you just came to White Knight Phil. I don't care. You need your head checked. Anybody, and I mean anybody, who sits here and says that it's okay for a man in his mid to late 20s, early 30s to date a 16-year-old is okay, there's something fucking wrong with you. I'm not trying to hear by the letter of the law. Get the fuck out of here, this letter. Only on the internet would you do this, all right? If you really believe in that shit, I'll put it like this. When you grown men, go outside. Go get yourself a 16-year-old girl. If you can find one that you can mislead, go get yourself a 16-year-old girl, take her to her parents, and tell her parents, I'm allowed to date your daughter because by the letter of the law, watch what the fuck happens. Watch how they react. Don't give me this shit, okay? That's the problem with you people, all right? You know, the same people say by the letter of the law, well, fuck the police. Some of you, I'm going to say now that this isn't towards, because overseas, some of you said that your laws is actually at 14 years old. So now, let's just say if they push the law to 14 years old, should we be okay with that all of a sudden? common sense should tell you not to do something like that. He's a piece of shit and he's a pedophile. And you say, but you don't have proof. Fuck that. Okay? I'm calling him a pedophile. And some of you are like, oh, well, that's not really your style event. You don't obviously know my style because I told you before, I call it like I see it. That's my style. He's a fucking pedophile. That's simple. Don't tell me this shit. It seems like some of y'all forget that back in the day, this law used to be 18 and over. And then some of you say, oh, well, they pushed the law. They pushed it back. Just because they push it back doesn't mean it's okay. Common sense. Try some. Like I said, only on the internet would you try and pull some shit like this. And then some of you trying to say...
Because if you think about that situation with, They Call Me Carson, or whatever, his defenders came out and said pretty much the exact same thing. That, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, he got catfished into it. Oh, in such and such state it's legal, and so on and so forth. And it's like, well, where does the common sense come into play? And somebody got called out on Twitter who was trying to defend him, and they were like, well, if that was your sister, what would you have to say? That guy left Twitter. That person left Twitter. Shut the account down and everything. Didn't even respond back or anything. They must have cemented on that shit and then they left. That tells you something. If you really believed in what you said you were, you keep fighting that fight until it hit a little too close to home. Oh, you want to defend this dude so much that you're not thinking that's someone's sister. That's someone's daughter. That's someone's niece. That is somebody to somebody. When it's a faceless person, oh, it's whatever. You know, he didn't do anything wrong or they didn't do anything wrong or whatever. But when you actually add some sentimentality to it, then all of a sudden it's an issue. All of a sudden it gets a little uncomfortable. Something to think about.
Well, your terminology is wrong on this, and I'm saying regardless what you feel, what you're doing right now is throwing shade on the bigger task at hand, the focus on what this guy is doing, because he won't take responsibility for his actions. And all you can do is sit here and say, well, I'm right, thank you, and you're welcome and all this other bullshit. Guess what? Leave. Get the fuck out of here. You are not going to hijack my video with your constant bullshit. Do you understand that? I'm telling everyone, I don't care if you're a fan of mine, and most of the people I'm talking to are new screen names. They're not my regulars, so the new people just jumped on. Understand this really quickly, okay? While you have other people on here to say, please like, subscribe. No, I'm going to tell you straight as it is. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. I don't give a shit about likes and subs and all that. That is not what I'm here for.
Phil used to say that too. He used to say that, oh, other content creators need to beg for likes, need to beg for subs, and beg for favorites and all this bullshit, when Phil, pretty much his whole YouTube career, used to do that. Throughout his whole career, he used to do that. What was his slogan back in the day? Like, rate, and participate or some bullshit? What's the difference? Oh, it just caught on with more and more people, and you didn't want to seem like you were a shill like the rest of them, right? Allegedly. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Like, Phil's been a bitch. Phil's been a bitch. Everything that Phil rails against in our current day and age, and certainly over the years, he's done it at one time or another himself. Look at him running back to Twitch like some common whore. Look at that. Oh, I thought it was a bad business. They don't care about gamers, and they don't care about the interest of gamers. They only want you to buy this, sell this, promote this. And now look at him. Over there like a common beggar. Like a common used up prostitute on the street. Can barely take care of herself, and let alone take care of anything else. Just saying.
I said, this community needs to be cleaned up severely. Don't sit here and fucking tell me this is okay. It's not. And here's the funny part, because fighting game community. Oh my God, fighting game community. Yes, for those who don't know, some people have been sending me messages from the fighting game community saying, well, I don't like the way Event handled that, and he wasn't very classy. This coming from the fighting game community. Are you serious? Classy? You're talking about the same fighting game community that throws their fighting stick when they lose at tournaments or starts fights in the middle of the tournaments. All right, but all of a sudden you got virgin ears. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Boy. Okay. I'm going to make a guess on what those two examples were. For throwing their fights I just found footage of this, actually. for throwing your fight stick when you lose a match. That's Gutex. Or Pog Champ or whatever that, you know, since he had his emo taken. That's Gutex. He was known for doing that back in the day. He's lost quite a few controllers for throwing that shit at the wall or whatever. Like, that's just how he got down. He's more than that, but it's certainly something that he has done, and it's pretty well publicized. For punching people in the middle of matches, I'm thinking he's talking about Noel Brown when he did his real life bionic punch. You might be able to still find that on WorldStar. You might be able to still find that on WorldStar when he actually punched the guy out while he was playing a match or some shit. I can't remember what the guy was doing or what kind of shit the guy was talking, but yeah, he knocked that guy flat out. So just to give you an example, the FGC has done its nutty shit for sure.
What? Prion said it best. He said he's going to take care of y'all this week. I'm going to let him ride on y'all. I can't wait to see that video. Those videos you say. He's going to ride on y'all. As far as I'm concerned, the fighting game community, and then some of you say, oh, well, you know, the reason these guys do it because it's like wrestling. So you're comparing esports to wrestling. So what you're saying is esports is fake. That's what you just said. You are destroying single-handedly, without thinking, you are dismantling the very same community that you love. Pathetic. Like I said, this shit is all truth. You don't gotta fucking like it. I don't expect people to like it. Like I said, I expect the people to go next, you know, at the last video, thumb it down, complain on it, and I'm sure you'll do this one too. But guess what? It doesn't stop what I do. You can block me all day, you can get mad at me all day. Guess what? Doesn't stop truth from happening. Doesn't stop truth from getting out. You understand it, right? If we're not on the same page as a community, this will not work. This is why the companies always take advantage of us. One guy came to me this morning, said to me, it's a shame that there's so many people arguing in those videos when you're trying to clean up stuff, but as soon as you do a charity video, you get less views for that. Because people like drama. Like
now,
I said before.
The thing is about the drama thing is whatever you want to make of it. It is what it is and whatnot. That's the day and age that we live in, and we still live in. As it pertains to what he was saying about the fighting game community and how letting these companies come in and take advantage of us or whatever, he's someone who was preaching that early on. And you kind of see some examples of that with, what's the name of that guy that Low Tier God played? The one who has like the paralysis, like you know what I'm saying? Like he has the paralysis and everything like that, so he has to kind of play with his face. He's a Chung-Li player. Broly Legs. Okay. After Broly Legs beat him and all this, and he caught his 15 minutes of fame, if you will. He spent the next like 2 years, maybe even longer than that, trying to get sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get sponsorship because he was trying to get out to more and more tournaments and whatever. He is a good player, and he couldn't get it. And yet they were giving sponsorships to a bunch of other people. I'm not going to name any females in particular who may or may not have been groupies back in their time, but allegedly they were getting sponsorship over him. He was getting really frustrated with it, and he was getting really upset that he couldn't get sponsored. And even some of the people that were coming to his defense and being like, hey, you do need some sponsorship. Hey, I'll reach out to this person and talk to you or whatever. Some of those people ended up getting sponsorship. And they weren't even asking for it. They were asking on his behalf, and they ended up getting sponsored by team. It was crazy, and a lot of people thought that he was being trolled. A lot of people thought that it was not necessarily discrimination, even though it's kind of what it came across like. But that they were going out of their way not to do it. I don't even know. I didn't get the full take on it, but it was an ugly situation for a while. And it's not just Broly Legs. There was a bunch of other people too who were placing in tournaments. They were doing really well, and they were looking for sponsorship. They were looking to become part of a team to take some of the financial burden off of them, and also, everybody wants to be affiliated, right? And it was a mess. You had people fighting with each other over small shit. The companies were sitting back there. Some of these companies, I won't name no names, were retweeting some of the stuff because they thought that shit was funny. And then once people really kind of had a moment of clarity, they kind of stepped back, and then they started focusing on these companies and all this bullshit. they just erased all their tweets and were like, oh, we weren't advocating for none of that. Oh, we'll have a representative reach out to you. We'll talk to you. We'll see what we can do. Like, you know what I'm saying? But before that, it was all fun and games and just retweeting shit and liking stuff, though, right? So, like I said, I mean, and the FGC is profitable. It should be more profitable than what it is. But it's not. There's too much infighting. There's too much bullshit. And the companies have come in and exploited them for too much at the end of the day. You know? It is what it is. I mean, don't be wrong. There are plenty of people who have won a big tournament, have changed their whole fucking life and shit. But after a while, when you look at the growth of the community as well as the profitability for everybody walking in, it's tomato. It depends on how you look at it. Like I said, I think the FGC has done a lot, and there was a lot of people who certainly got opportunities that they may have not been able to get otherwise if this was in a different time. You know what I mean? At the same time, like anything else, it could have been better, and it should be better to an extent, but people got to want it. And those who are already in a good position, they don't need to complain. They don't need to voice their concerns because they already have everything that they want. And then you just have this larger group, the minority, if you will. And, oh, well, where have you placed lately? Oh, who have you beaten of any stature or anything like that? Oh, if you can't, fit one of those two criteria, then what good are you? And Darksydephil, as one of many people, propagated that. Oh, well, who have you beaten? What, you know what I'm saying? What named, where have you placed that at such a tournament? Things that Phil has said himself. He's helped propagate the situation. And in a lot of ways, one of the reasons why he was his own, and like I said, in many ways, or one of many ways, he's one of the reasons why he got ran up and out of there. And he still hasn't learned. Same thing with YouTube. He, at the end of the day, his own demise was in his own hooves. But he wasn't smart enough to see it, even when everybody else did. Even when everybody else told him, Phil, you need to stop now, because if you keep doing what you're doing, there's not going to be no going back for you. Oh, I know better. I know what I'm doing. And he didn't.
This is what they wanted. Doesn't matter what side of this you're on. Don't sit here and tell me that it's okay. You can get behind throwing a person out, but you can't get behind a charity that helps the community. You have to be for both, men, especially if you're going to walk that path. But it seems like people don't want to understand that. And still, I'm sure some of you are going to say, well, it's still the letter of the law, event. Are you fucking serious? You were talking to a person. We're here in the real world where people don't give a shit about the law. Hell, we even police our own around here.
Back in North Philadelphia, the gifts left behind in memory of Raina joined the collection of memorials honoring shooting victims around the neighborhood. Despite the city's call for change, victims advocate Stephanie Mayweather says something has to give.
Where do we go from here? How do we help curb some of this violence?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I have been here for 13 years and I have watched the crime escalate. I have watched the neighborhood deteriorate. I have watched the police presence decline here. I don't know what the answer is.
And you still want to talk to me about the letter of the law? And then some of you are like, but they love each other. Isn't that enough? No. There's a reason they hid it for years so that no one knew, because they knew he was going to get in trouble. Bottom line, he's a pedophile. Now, if you want to talk about the letter of the law, because all of a sudden, apparently everyone's a stand-up citizen and everyone follows every letter of the law, let's look at some of these laws since, you abide by the letter of the law, right? You know what? Why don't we just go to Phil's place, all right? How about we talk about Connecticut? How about this? You can be stopped by the police for biking over 65 miles an hour. Pedal biking, okay? It is illegal to dispose of used razor blades. These are the letters of the law, okay? How about this? It is unlawful to walk backwards after sunset. Serious?
Oh, I'm sorry. The walking backwards one got me fucked up. It's funny because Phil talks about how backwards Connecticut is. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me get it together. Okay. Phil talks about how backwards things are in Connecticut, but there's a law saying you can't walk backwards after sunset. It's hilarious. Okay, law number 2: you can't dispose of used razors. I guess, is that a reason why Phil doesn't shave every day? And then the first one, you can't pedal your bike at what, 55 or 65 miles per hour? Is that Phil's reason for not getting exercise? I know all of that sounds weird and that's me reaching, but when you think about it, because, you know, Phil understands the law, right? It makes you wonder. I'm just saying, like, Phil pulls inspiration and excuses from the weirdest places. So, just something to think about.
Only white Christmas lights are allowed for display. Really? This is what I'm telling you. This is the dumb things. You may not educate dogs.
Wait,
it is
only
illegal.
White Christmas lights can be displayed, and you may not educate dogs, so you can't have your dog go through training? The fuck? Well, that's random. But every state has kooky ass laws though, so it is what it is.
For a man to kiss his wife on Sunday. I'm done. And y'all want to talk about the letter of the law, huh? Understand that you have to use common sense. It is absolutely stupid for you people to say something like this. But like I said, it's the internet. It's not real life. So you're not going to take that. Like I said, I really wish one of y'all would try that letter of the law shit in real life. I really wish y'all would. And every state has these problems. All right? Has these dumb laws. Letter of the law. Like I said, I don't want to hear it. But I do want to talk about these fanboys, because a lot of you have told me, you know, you've warned me about some of these white knights, especially a one Eden's Cross. Now, let's get something straight here, all right? This Eden's Cross person has been messaging me on Twitter since last week, okay? Mind you, I don't know this person. I don't follow this person. He found me, okay? So what he'll do is he'll send me a bunch of crap or say a bunch of crap to me. Then when I respond to him in a simple question, why do you support a man who doesn't, who won't be held accountable for his actions? So I'll ask him. Won't answer. All right? He'll keep sending me stuff, but won't answer. And then go on his TL and talk all this junk about other people and myself as well. Eden's Cross, understand what your stalking ways, what you're doing right now, that's going to stop today. Unlike Phil's bitch ass, all right, who lives in Connecticut, you live in Philadelphia. And you go to the University of the Arts. Do you know what that means, Eden's Cross? Know what that means? It means you are a block and a half away from one of the gyms that I box at. Now, since it's so serious, I suggest we have a meetup. It got serious that quick, right? Real life now. Understand, you go to the University of the Arts. You're a major in animation. Anybody who watches my videos, have been watching for a long time, knows I've been in the animation field. All right? Went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Understand that the animation field, I've told you people before, is a very tight-knit community. And understand that the teachers and staff, when they leave one art place, they go to another. So I will put it like this, Eden's Cross. All right? You don't stop your bullshit, I will definitely make a phone call. That's all I got to do. Whether it's a student advisor, whether it's a teacher, all I got to do is look up a registry and make a phone call. And I guarantee you, even teachers that I don't know, all right, I know someone that knows them. That's how well connected we are in this community. You are a little boy in a man's world right now. You're not even professional yet. You are a student. Understand, I can put eyes on you, and I mean by them. Relax. Stop stalking people, because easily I will contact one of them and say, do you see what your student is doing here? Do you see the company your student is keeping here? Understand that you will get no recommendations on this when you do this. This is what I mean. Is it really worth sitting here and defending scum that could hurt your real existence? He's already hurt his existence. He's not going to be able to get a job after this. Some of you have already said. All right? He's not going to be able to explain the years gap that he's had of not working in his profession.
And that was in 2014. It's 2021. Is he still talking about that 10-year plan of getting a job after he gets his ass out of debt? He got the bankruptcy. Why hasn't he gone ahead and got that job yet? Did we forget about that? Let me refresh your memory for a minute. So, excuse me. If you guys remember, after he got married, okay, after him and Catherine got married, he had proposed a 10-year plan to his mother and to all of us, that once he was able to get this debt taken care of, get it all squared away, then he would go ahead and look for a part-time job and cut back on the streaming and on YouTube and all that bullshit, right? So, so he would have a balance. So he would diversify. You guys, is that starting to ring a bell to some of you guys now? He was granted the bankruptcy, $140,000 wiped right up off the board. The only thing he has left is the condo in Connecticut, which, according to him, it's already wrapped up. He don't even have to worry about it. It's out of his hands. The bankruptcy allowed that to be extinguished. So why didn't we go ahead and get a job? Why haven't we been looking for a job? Oh, that's funny. It goes back to something that I had said when he announced all this. I was like, he's not going to get a job. If he somehow gets up out of debt, right? Why would he need to go and look for a full-time job when the actual problem, when the actual issue, which was prompting him to go and get a real job, is now already squared away? Let me go ahead and let's reword that. Once the debt is taken care of, why would he feel the need to go off and do anything extra? The debt's already gone. Some of you guys who've been following me on the main channel, you know that. You know I've said that. So now that the bankruptcy's gone through, I guess we don't need to worry about that 10-year plan anymore. Unless, and this is going to sound harsh, but fuck it, I said it then, I'll say it now. Unless the 10-year plan is waiting for his parents to die out. And then he can go ahead and collect their money. And then use that and collect all of their assets. Then split that with his cousin, Melissa. Take his half, pay off his house, and then essentially he's debt-free. Makes you think, don't it?
Student. You're still a dumb 19-year-old kid. I think you're about 19, whatever. You're still a dumb student. Relax. If it's that serious and you keep it pressing on, then you really need to make some time to see me face to face. Like I said, you're a block and a half away. No excuses. You know what, man? This community needs to get better. It does. And the thing is, you want me to help, but yet you bitch and moan how I do things. If you don't like the way I do things, do it yourself. If you don't have a problem with that, then let me do me. All right? Because if you're not going to have the heart to do it, and some of you have shown you have the heart to do it. You showed it, the clips. That's how I got the videos, how I got the information. So community, there's some people in the community that are helping. But the rest of you that want to sit on the sidelines and throw judgment on how I do things, you kiss my ass, as far as I'm concerned, because you're not in the thick of it. All right? That's simple. Now I'm done with this for the week. Seriously. I'm going to move on to sports because, seriously, the community needs to think long and hard on what direction they really want to go in. All this shit going on and carrying on, and this is what y'all bring to the table. This. Yeah. All defense shit. Pathetic.
Oh boy. And yet again, I don't think he really understood how right he was, because when you think about what happened with the Smash community and all that shit later, and all those pedophilic allegations being thrown around, and so on and so forth, in these certain communities or whatever. Yikes. Phil is the representation of the worst aspects of human nature. It is what it is. And in that, it makes him somewhat useful. But at the same time, not everybody wants to see it for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That's the end of the video on that one. Give me a second to square up. I will give you guys final thoughts, and I will let you guys go. And that is the conclusion of the main event versus Darksydephil saga. But like I said, there is oh boy, there's plenty of more. There's the Evo story. I think that's like 2 parts to that actually. There is LD has Victim of the Year, envious of Darksydephil. That's a DSP cult leader video. There is Volt Boy has a shitload of FGC videos on Phil, older stuff that I'd like to go over. This is only the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. This is only the beginning. Oh boy. See you guys in just a second. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the conclusion of that. Thank you very much to Main Event. Like I said, the link to this video will be down in the description as it was with the 2 previous ones. Please check them out. Please check out the comment section. Like I said, you're gonna hear a lot. You're gonna see a lot. It's a lot to take in. I think at the end of this, what was exposed, I think, not only just about Phil, but about his community, it rings true even to today. And in a lot of ways, the reason why he has fallen and his community has fallen, they're all laughing, they're all fucking lol cows, pay pigs, they're all laughing stocks, all stems from this right here. I mean, not all of it, but a majority of it stems from this right here. This could have been cleaned up years ago. All he had to do was change. Try to do something. What you're doing is not helping you publicly, right? It's not helping your persona or anything, and it's making you less and less money because, as you saw in the last video or the video before, he was already in a decline from his views and everything like that. Jesus Christ, at one time he was at 10 million views a month, and that shit dropped into the fucking 5s, into the 3s, into the 2s in the matter of months. In the matter of months. At the end of the day, he is his greatest detractor. He is his greatest deficit and whatnot. And yet again, that's why you don't need to push a narrative on Phil, or you don't have to induce for Phil to fuck up, right? You give Phil enough rope and he'll hang himself. I need to put that shit on a shirt. But that's what the truth is. It's always been that way. Excuse me. It's always been the truth. It's the most truest thing I've ever said about Phil is you give him enough rope and he'll hang himself. And he has done it with reckless abandon for over a decade. Everything he touches turns to pig shit. After a while, you can't blame everybody. After a while, people look at you and be like, you're the problem. You have to be the problem. Because how else can anybody justify it? And Phil knows that. He knows that better than anyone. And anytime he is criticized for anything, someone else has to be at fault. You're a fucking hater. Or it's because you don't like me. Or it's because these people hate me. Or it's because of this. Or it's because of that. Or it's because of buggy this or faulty this. His excuses expose his vulnerabilities. And that's those same vulnerabilities and whatnot are the same thing that he preys upon amongst his own audience. He screwed himself over. He screwed himself over. And the sooner people wake up and realize that, I mean, maybe he'll actually take some accountability once people stop listening to the bullshit. But in truth, though, the reality, if you will, the bottom line is he'll always be a piece of shit that'll blame others for his own failures. It's all he knows. It's all he knows, and it's been ingrained in him. It's hard to believe that a child would self-induce pignosis on themselves to make them look at life like this. So there's something mentally wrong. There's something very wrong there. But that's for him to work out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Like I said, the journey has only begun and whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Snortopia, this is the Gout Report, and this is DSP News 2nd Edition. Take care of yourselves. And big ups to Tim Snortons. Take care of yourselves, guys.